Yes, sir. So what's good, bro? Let's talk.
Everything's good. Another ups and down week. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like the bigger the dream, the harder it gets. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
The challenges got to match the reward level. You know what I'm saying? We just did about 30, 40 minutes of technical difficulty.
Weekly. I'm talking about weekly.
And it's a good point because my shit turned off. Because for people out there that are doing something or trying to do something, you got to realize is that, one of my mentors used to say, you don't got to get it right. You just got to get it going.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And what's that book? Ready, Fire, Aim.
Ready. It's Ready, Fire, Aim.
And the funny thing about it is that if you don't catch it, you might not like. What's that? Well, it's ready, aim, fire. Is normally like most time, measure twice, cut once.
Right.
But sometimes you gotta just let that damn thing fly.
You gotta let it go, and you gotta aim in the process.
Yeah. Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
But nah, man, it's look, man, it's always a pleasure to sit down with you, pick your brain, go back and forth, and really, get multiple perspectives on different situations. And it for me, it's always enlightening. You know what I mean? You my guy, but and we have these type of conversations all the time. But I know, we study and we prep and prepare, and it's different conversations when we hop on and we do the podcast.
Yep.
So again, man, even through the technical difficulties, I know it's gonna always be good. I know, we will deliver the information that
Facts.
Can definitely help change the lives of 100,000 men. Which
is the goal.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
And again, man, just continue to be a vessel, man, and be that. Be that place to where these guys can come and get the information.
Yeah.
Not just the information, but the tools to be able to be better. So, again, guys, this is Transformers, the podcast with your boy Will Beckford
and your main man Dallas Maxwell.
Hey, look, it's on you today. You gonna crank.
No, I got it.
We gonna chime in.
So the premise, how we come up with these ideas is just like, things that we experience during the week or whatever, books that we read, and then we kind of chop it up right there. So the theme today is, the theme with the podcast obviously is transformation, which is transforming yourself from the man you are today into the man you want to be. And then we break that down into 4 different categories. I think we talk mindset, your fitness in your body, physical, spiritual, and then your relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I've found is the best way to get something done is if you could figure out a way to have fun at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling my son the other day, he's like, I don't really like this class. And I said, well, it's not required that you like the class. What's required is for you to hit the benchmark. So what you got to do as a part of learning process is figure out how to make that class fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out how to make the game fun. A game that's not fun is not something you're going to want to play. So what we want to do is kind of make your transformation fun. And the way that you play any game is you got to have an opponent. You got to have something that you're trying to play against, something that you're trying to beat, right?
And who we compete against?
So that's a great question. I'm glad that you asked that.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is it seemed like a simple question, but it's a good question because a lot of times people think they're competing with their peers or the outside world or some kind of standards. What's going on? Oh, yeah, my man.
Not a lot of times, all the time.
Facts.
Most individuals are operating based on the individuals that they're competing against. Somebody fixed their roof, another person feel like they got to fix their roof.
Exactly.
See somebody at work getting in shape, they feel like they got to get in shape. You know what I mean? So most of us are operating like that.
Exactly. And what's beautiful about it, I tell my kids all the time, is that you can't, and I'm using metaphors, but it's a real example, is you can't cheat off the next man's paper for the simple fact that y'all ain't taking the same test.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like each one of our challenges, our struggles are custom tailored for us and what we need to bring about our highest potential, which is why comparison is good because you need comparison to measure things.
Right.
But it's what are you comparing? You know what I'm saying? So that's the key. And so that's what I want to talk about is turning this thing into a game. And so the competition, and I remember one time I was about to turn 30 and I was telling my homeboy, I was like, man, and I thought I was saying some shit. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't compare myself to people that's doing worse than me. I compare myself to people that's doing better than me. I thought I dropped a jewel, right? My man hit me with, he was like, bruh, he was like, you can't even do that. I was like, what you mean? He's like, you can't compare yourself to other people. The best thing you can compare yourself is to your potential.
Right.
To your highest self, the 2.0. You mentioned that shit, I guess, in episode 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And you thought, like, this might sound a little weird. I didn't think the shit was weird at all. I thought it was actually profound. And it's really the only way to do it is that what is your 2.0 self? So what does that mean, right? You're in a competition. The game is I want to change. I want to transform into what I am to what I want to be. And I have competition, opposition that's either trying to one-up me or stop me from doing it. Another thing, I remember playing basketball in high school. First time I ever heard this damn term, and we were hooping, right? And my man was like, yeah, nah, buddy, self-check. I was like, self-check? I'm like, what the hell does that mean? He said self-check. He's like, yeah, you don't even got to guard my man. He guarding himself. And I was like, damn.
Nah, I get it.
That's cold. And a lot of times we're guarding ourselves and we think that our opponent is somebody else outside of us. So boom, how do we create this reference point or this 2.0 self so we can compare ourselves to? So the way that I think about it is this. Your idea person, self-image. So this is a drill, right? So everybody, this is what I want to do. You don't got to do it right now. Just vibe out to the podcast. But when we're done, I want you to think about and really dream. Like a lot of times, Bob Proctor, a lot of people are big on dream boards. And it's basically a board that you have pictures of things that you want to aspire to. But we don't think about what we want to become. We think about what we want to have or what we want to get.
Right.
When the reality of it is the person that gets those things is who we become.
Right.
So who are we trying to become and what is our 2.0 self? Go ahead.
And I'll be honest, like I really, before I didn't, and I'm just touching on visualization and really being able to see things and act as if. And I say that because, I was really like one of those guys, like I'm not doing no vision board. Like I want what I want. I'm going to just go for it.
Yeah. But
we don't realize that our subconscious mind is going to act based on what we see and what we tell ourselves, right? So a lot of times, well, the majority of the time, if something is out of sight, it's out of mind. So it's hard for you to go for a specific thing if you can't see it, touch it, feel it internally, right? So me personally, once I started, reading out my goals, when I started, placing, like if I wanted something specific, I would put it on my computer screen. I would put it, and these things start to manifest and these things start to happen. And it's not the secret. It's not just thinking it and feeling it and wanting it. It's being able to see it and know day in and day out, I got to work for that, right? So if you want the house, you need to see that every day.
Damn.
If you want to increase your revenue, you need to see that every day. If you want to make an extra $50,000 on top of what you're making right now, you need to see that. If you wake up and you see $50,000 in the bathroom, you see it in the car on the way to work, you see it. If you continuously see it, you know the energy you have to put behind to make it happen. So for me, I started doing things like that. When I wanted a new gym, I took a picture of a place. I put grind time at the top. I did all these things and I saw it every day. And guess what? It came way faster than I expected it to come. But the energy came from me seeing it day in and day out, right? It's on my phone, right? It's in the room. It's on the fridge. It's like every day when I walk in the kitchen, I'm like, damn, I gotta do something else to make this thing happen. When I'm in the car driving to work, I got to do something else to make this thing happen, right? And it allowed me to put the energy behind what I want, what I aspire to actually attain, and I made it happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no. And it's good because basically we're talking about imaging, and Einstein talks about, the imagination being, like the main part of intellect is seeing it and then creating something tangible that you can reference. Because to your point, based on what you're saying, as long as you keep that right in front of your face, you're going to constantly be being like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
That's what I'm going for.
It's like a flag, what I'm
Right.
saying? Something to refocus you. Oh, that's the point of this. Like you said, writing the goals down, read them in the morning, read them at night. You got to keep where you're headed front of mind. That'd be like driving, but not looking through the windshield.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
No
Looking
doubt.
out the side of the door, looking at your kid, looking through the rear view mirror. So you have to create this target of something to aspire to look toward. I never forget, Memphis Bleak, he said this in one of his lines in one of his songs, and it stuck out to me. He said, I go to sleep. He said, man, I go to sleep with a picture of a Porsche on the wall. He's like, man, I'm trying to come up on y'all. And it's just a regular rap line.
No doubt.
But what he was saying is, he's like, man, when I go to bed, I'm going to see that damn Porsche on the wall. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to see that Porsche on the wall.
Doubt.
So everything that I'm doing is Porsche thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can use that. I don't even know if I'm going to call it a brain hack, because that shit is like pretty basic. I don't want to call it a hack, but it's so simple.
But you're pretty much embedding that image into your subconscious mind, right? And I think, in my opinion, it's super important to do that if you aspire to be something or you aspire to attain something.
So
right?
So let's do this. So let's what we're going to do is we're going to create an avatar. Now, we're not going to do it, but we're going to go through the process of how do you create this avatar, your 2.0 self. Mm-hmm. And so I would start off with, what does this guy, who is this person? How does he feel? How does he feel about what he does? Is he energetic? Is he as excited to get up in the morning, no matter whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or is he looking for the weekend?
Right.
What type of choices are he making? What is guiding him? Is he principle-based, or is it based on how he feels, the way the wind blows, the way the weather blows?
Right.
Is it whether he's having a good day or a bad day? And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go off on a quick little tangent, and this happened to me this morning. So, boom. I had a good morning. You know, my son didn't have a game today, so I got to sleep a little bit late to 7 o'clock. That's sleeping late for me on a Sunday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Got up, went to the gym, did a little cardio on the treadmill, had breakfast at my favorite spot, had my favorite table ready for me. Everything was going. It felt like Ice Cube. I heard Ice Cube in the background. Today was a good day, right? So I'm hearing the music in the background. And I said to myself, today is going to be a good day. And as soon as I thought today is going to be a good day, I immediately caught myself and said, today is a good day.
Right. Framing. It's important.
That's so simple. And for some reason, today is going to be a good day. Like, I'm already living it and taking ownership of the nowness of it. Because you can't make no moves in the future or in the past. So for me, it was just affirming that I'm having a good day and I'm going to continue to have a good day. And it's like not aspiring towards something. Instead of working towards something, you're becoming something. Now, that might seem like what's the difference? But it's a small little distinction of taking ownership. Now, to tie it back into the avatar piece, it's like, who am I becoming and who is this guy? So, like, what did you do when you created your 2.0 self? Like, what did you have to, because I know you brought it up. Like, what was your categories that you created your guy out of?
Oh, I mean, in general, I think, if you're looking at the 2.0 version of yourself, the optimal version of yourself, you're just looking at what you are now, right? Mm-hmm. And because I'm not at the 2.0 version yet.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's the daily principles, the habits, the mindset that's going to eventually allow me to become who that 2.0 version is. And it's just, again, just daily rituals and habits. Things that I know I shouldn't be doing, I don't do them.
Yeah.
Things that I should be doing, I do them. Right? Even the hard stuff.
And I think you hit on it. I think a part of your 2.0 self, if you're looking for a category, is what are his standards?
Right.
What might be acceptable to your current self might be not acceptable to your 2.0 self.
Right.
Like, yourself right now might be cool with procrastinating, or yourself right now might be cool with, I'll do that shit later. But your 2.0 self might be the type of cat that's like, as soon as we know something, we take immediate action.
We take ownership.
You know what I'm saying? Ownership and action immediately. Yeah. So you got to create this avatar. And I think what's cool about it is a lot of times we're looking at other people like, man, my man, he just got this so-and-so, or he's doing this, or he opened up a business, and we're not focused on a thing. One of the things I love about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which was one of my favorite books, Robert Kiyosaki, if you haven't read that, it's foundational, it's a must. He was like, mind your damn business. I was like, damn, man. He said the most
just as simple.
Man, it's just so simple. It's so easy in this world of imagery and distraction and social media to compare yourself to something that don't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I believe it's critical to create this kind of an avatar so you can compare yourself. And then when you're about to make a decision, it ain't about anybody else. It ain't about what everybody else got going on. It's like, would my highest self do this? And it's such an easy go-to when you're at work and you got to make a decision. Would my highest self take the higher ground, or would they be petty? Would they create a more friction, or would they take the diplomatic, like you're creating benchmarks and standards so you can measure your progress. You can't manage what you can't measure. The problem is, for most of us, we're comparing it to the wrong thing.
Right.
So that's why I'm of a firm believer that, like I said, when you create this character for yourself, and you think about it, I don't know how, we may watch the cartoons, we talked about it last episode, you got the red dude on your shoulder, you got the white dude in an outfit, or rather, one is your highest self, the other one is your lowest self. The lowest self is like, nah, we could chill, man. We could just as easily start tomorrow as today. Your highest self is like, bro, we don't operate like that. So the battle is inside, it's not outside. And I think when you make that shift, you can kind of create your own pace, and you can set your target and have your benchmark. And I think it's a lot clearer. I go to the gym, they're talking about no judgment zone. And the reality is, man, who gives a damn what anybody else thinks about you? At the end of the day, is that when you sit down and you take your shoes off at the end of the night, did you give it 100%? Did you get everything done that day that you want to do? Did you do it to the fullest? Did you give it 100%? And that's really what's gonna level you up or push you back, is you're living up to your own standard, and that's up to you, which is the exciting part. But it's the good news and it's the bad news. The bad news is that you got to actually set the tone.
Right.
The good news is that you're in control.
And I know a lot of people would hear this podcast and they may say, yo, why aren't they why isn't it faith-based? Why isn't it saying, it?
Shit.
But it's godly. It's godly to be 2.0. Like, that's what God wants. Look, I feel like, and Ed Milet said this, and I wholeheartedly feel this way. I feel as though there's the ultimate version of you. That's the godly version.
Yeah.
And then that's the average version.
Yeah.
I think we all have that 2.0 version, right? And I think we all should be chasing that 2.0 version. And just like, and again, just referencing Ed Milet, he said, he feels as though when we all pass, when we're at the gates, and when we're talking to the man up above, he's going to show us who we was supposed to be here on earth. And he hopes that he's identical twins with the person that God made him to be. And I feel as though that's super important, right? We don't have to have a whole conversation around faith when I know for a fact God put us here to be our optimal self.
Well, and it's really simple. See, like I got simple. It's so simple. It's like, it just occurred to me as you talking about. You think about human beings having free will, and all animals operate off of instinct, right?
Right.
The gift and the curse of being human is choice. Mm-hmm. We got the choice. We can choose what we're going to think. We can choose what we're going to do. We get to choose our habits, and by virtue of being able to choose those causes, we actually choose our outcome and our effects. Now, here's the downside to being a human. A tree don't get up and be like, man, fuck this shit. I ain't growing today. I'm going to chill.
Nah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? A lion ain't getting up and like, man, I don't even feel like hunting. Like, man, it's a Sunday. I'm chill. No, they got to eat. Every other creature has built within it an instinctual thing to excel and to go on. As human, you don't see no fat animals.
Right.
You don't see no out-of-shape trees. They don't have a choice to not do the right thing.
Right.
That's where the opportunity is, but we can also choose not to do it too, and that's the hardest part. And so without a benchmark, without a system to measure ourselves, we lost in the sauce and we don't know it. Now, we're in school. We got to be at certain places. We got tests, and we're inside of a structured process.
Right.
But how do you level up, and how do you get good grades in the categories of life that mean something to you when you're not in a formal situation? You're going to have to create a structure, a benchmark, a system of measurement that you can hold yourself accountable and something to aim towards. And the best way to do that is to create this avatar. And if you want to, if it's going to be helpful, because I like flipping the coin, then create your worst self. You know what I'm saying? And who do you want to be closer to if it's a poll and you got your worst self?
Who do you not want to be?
And who do you not want to be?
Let's talk about it.
Ooh.
Like, for real. Like, I mean, because that's just as important.
Is equally important. It's two sides of the pole. Who do you, and that's funny. Because a lot of people might be saying, like, I don't really know. I ain't never really thought about that. All right, boom. So let's start with the low-hanging fruit. What don't you want to do? Well, I don't want to procrastinate no more. I'm tired of saying I'm going to do this shit and not ever doing it. I'm wondering why my kids be looking at me with that side eye when I say stuff, because I don't really be executing on it. So I don't want to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a dude when I say something, that shit happens. So if the low-hanging fruit on your list, if you can't get that far and you maybe haven't been dreaming like that and can't see your ideal self, list who you don't want to be.
Right.
Start listening to characters that you don't want to be, and then that'll slowly trickle over into who you want to be. And once you got that list together, you create your figure, and that's your benchmark to measure your activity. What would this guy do? Would he make an excuse right now? Would my 2.0 make an excuse, or would he go through it? Would he be coming up with justification right now, or would he just blast through it? And then you only know the real answers with that, and then move accordingly based on what that is. And I think the distinction of this is it ain't external, man. Your competition ain't external. The competition for you, the baddest joker that's going to guard you, that's stopping you, is going to be in the mirror 100% of the time. Michael Jackson made a song with it. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. That's the first place that you want to start when you talk about transformation. I was talking to my son the other day. I told you, Joker's about to start complaining about his teammates. I'm like, bruh, it ain't no action over there.
No doubt.
The only action is in, I was like, did you give it 100%? Was that the best possible game that you could have played?
Right.
I was like, well, he without Stone, man. He was without Sin, cast the first stone, bro. Let's focus on your side of the table. Until you're perfect, it ain't nothing for you. You ain't got time to be going outside of yourself. And that's really the philosophy. And I think it helps people steer and keep it on track instead of getting, confused about, my man did this or so-and-so did that. So look at you can't look at somebody else's paper, man, because we taking different tests. Man,
right.
And that's really the point of it.
It's a game. Compete.
It is a game.
I compete with the gorilla every morning.
Yeah.
I compete with the gorilla you already know. I compete. I always, anytime, no doubt. Anytime I don't want to do something, I understand it's my subconscious mind. And my subconscious mind is what I call the gorilla.
Yeah.
When I wake up and I feel like hitting the snooze button, I'm like, nah. I tell the gorilla, you ain't gonna win this one.
That's real.
When I don't want to eat a certain thing, and look, I'm just like you. I fight the same battles you fight, right? But when I don't wanna, nah, you ain't winning this one. Compete, but have a good time in your competition. You know what I mean? Make it fun. So
that's happened the other day. It was cold, man. One of them 20-degree mornings, I'm like, yo, you went to the gym both days. Yo, you could just take a day off, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll hit it back up. And I asked myself, like, what is Buddy doing? His Joker was getting dressed. In my mind, my higher self, man, I was putting his shoes on there. And I was like, damn, he ain't chilling. You know what I'm saying? So man, go ahead and get up and make it happen. So, like I said, it's a standard. You got to hold your health self to a standard, and it's your responsibility to do that for yourself. And I think that's one of the major components in making that transformation is creating a benchmark, creating a target, setting a standard of operations, and something to measure your progress by and check your notes. And that's the best way to do it, I feel like.
Nah, man. Look, we good?
Yeah,
Hey, look, I'll tell you one thing, man. When you come and you dial in and you tap into this podcast, you're going to learn something.
Yeah.
All right? You're going to receive tools, right? You're going to receive tools that you can take with you and continuously elevate yourself. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of Transformers, the podcast, with your boy, Will Beckford.
And your main man, Dallas Maxwell.
Hey, look, man, we appreciate y'all. Tap in again. Every Wednesday, we dropping these podcasts, ton of tools to get you to the next level.
That's what it is.
And we out. Peace.
We gone.